Hello everybody, Dokkan here. Welcome back to another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. So I'm starting off these series of pre-recorded videos because again I'm gonna be away for a week or so, and I'm gonna leave content for you guys available in the channel. So apologies about that. I'm basically taking a little bit of a birthday vacation. Speaking of which, today officially is my birthday as of the recording of this video. I don't know if the upload of this video, but yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the newest characters in the game and my overall thoughts, my overall placements on the units and things like that. I have the tabs separated as well. We'll be able to add who are, for me, the best units in the game right now. Like in terms of LRs, so we'll get into that into the discussion right here on this video. Again, these are all my overall thoughts and opinions depending on how I use the characters, how I feel when I'm using them, their dependency on the teams that you can be able to place them in, the frequency of which I would see the teams being utilized as well, etc. Again, these are all my own thoughts and opinions. If you guys have any particular disagreement on any of the placements of these characters, that's what we're here for. You can be able to discuss them down the links below, or in the chat below, or in the comments. That's what I meant to say. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to depict my number 10th first, and then we go all the way up to number 1. Number 10 is going to be our boy Super Saiyan Gogeta here. Now, again, there are just so many good LRs in the game right now that even putting this guy on the 10th slot kind of hurts me, but we're gonna look at it in the way that I am using these characters and things like that. Again, looking at their reliability, looking at their usage. Oh, alarm went off at the wrong time. Okay, so Gogeta is very, very, very good. I feel as though he can be a little bit maybe underrated on his own on the team that we have right now with the trio and things like that. The trio just provide a lot of great utility all around. They have a lot of good damage reduction, they have good defense, and they're providing support to allies that are in all-out struggle or movie heroes. So having Gogeta added in there is a good asset. So I would say that it's a very good option to add on your team, but I don't see him a lot being added onto the trio team. I'm looking at the teams that I've been using, and he is sometimes in those slots, but if I look at the perspective like, oh, we're bringing the trio, like what are we gonna do? Like the trio are able to provide an extra 30% for characters who are on movie heroes and or Connected Hope, but it's an unfortunate case where the unit itself is on, well, he can depend on, like, you know, Super Saiyans. If it wasn't for that, then he wouldn't be on the trios' team. So adding him is good, but the versatility that you can have, the healing that this unit is going to provide you when he goes to blue is also very, very important to carry, especially now with these like tough bosses that we've been getting. But I feel like in terms of usage, the frequency that I've been using the trio with Gogeta and things like that is a very solid one. I'm not saying that there's nothing bad to say about this character. that's one of the many things, like trying to do a tier list. Like the placement of these units can be interchangeable. So I feel like this guy, like I mentioned, there's a lot of units right now that are withstanding of like getting the top 10. There have been instances, of course, where we have been getting slammed. At least I am. With Gogeta, there have been instances where he just unfortunately does not get his dodges in, and this is on base. I'm not talking about his blue form, where he just unfortunately cannot hold his own. He does have a guard for 3 turns, but then after that you will have to try to get him to transform immediately, and then the additional attacks are really solid. But you know, I built this guy dodge because he doesn't have like, he doesn't have damage relative, but he has guard. On his attacks, he's able to stack defense on his AT key, which is really good. So again, his usability is very solid, and I'm not saying that this is a bad character to put. It's just that there are too many good characters that I had to find a spot for him at number 10. So at number 9, again, this is in terms of usability. I've been finding myself using this character a lot often because of the worldwide download celebration, and that is going to be our boy Super Saiyan Broly. There are some characters in the game now that with the LR int Broly available in the game, he has a turn 1 domain that you can be able to use right away. It is going to be helpful because this guy's domain can be utilized on turn 5. Starting from the 5th turn from the character's entry turn. Again, it's going to be beneficial trying to space out these domains because, again, we don't have the domain update yet on Global or JP. And for them to not make these domains clash, they had to kind of fix it around a little bit. Like, you can be able to use Broly's domain on turn 1. Like, okay. Then that's what's gonna happen. That's how it's gonna go. So on turn 1, you can be able to have that enabled, and then after his domain goes out, you can use this guy's domain, and it makes him a lot more stronger. I feel, in the realm of like movie bosses now that he can be able to be run. It was first super bosses, so we were trying to make his team work. With all these units coming out like Cell Max, the Frieza, the Broly trio, and now that we got the Broly movies, we got some really good substantial buffs there. So I would say I'm gonna place him at number 9 for now. Again, I find myself using Broly a lot more. I've been using the Broly's team a lot more than the Super Saiyan Trios team. I gotta change that so but that's my thoughts and opinions on this character. I'm not saying that he's bad, not saying that these units are they are too good that the placements of these units is gonna be, of course, weird because of the top 10 characters that I think are in the game. The placements for these units, of course, like I mentioned, can be interchangeable depending on how you look at things, but this is how I look at it. Gogeta and Broly could both be interchangeable here in this tier list, right? So again, these are my thoughts. So coming in at number 8 is going to be, let me just go ahead and look at Evolution Blue Vegeta here. So let me go ahead and put this here. I'm gonna take into account the ECAs that we've gotten recently, and I'm gonna add these guys in here in the tier list. I don't know what they did with their ECA. That's just out of this world. The way that they handle these guys as ECAs is so good, to the point that you guys can be able to use these guys on many different team setups. It's so good. Reps Universe 7 that gets this can get a lot of substantial buffs during the anniversary with the releases of like UI Goku, ECA UI Goku, ECA STR UI Goku. Unfortunately, he couldn't make the team, or he couldn't make the roster of like best units in the game because he has been a RNG based character. He needs to dodge a lot in order for him to be buffed up, and quite frankly, if he doesn't dodge for you, he's just going to take a lot of damage. So yeah, I consider this guy really, really good. The damage reduction that he's able to get is very impactful. Like, he gets a lot of stats. He's just so good. Like, guard, 50% damage reduction. He has a additional attack that has a 77% chance of becoming a super. Like, he is very, very good. He's a very good option, and he's providing crit chances to the team, which is like stupendous. So I feel like this guy very, very solid, very, very good. He, like, if you're building a Reps of Universe 7 team, you're going to bring this character in here, and many others. Like, whatever team you're trying to make, this unit has been so resourceful and helping you out, like, beat so many like events. I tried to beat the Broly fight, the first phase, like the first stage of Broly, and he was a vital asset of me just tanking the damage, because again, this guy can get up to 80% damage reduction in the turn with like huge stats. 80% damage reduction with guard. It's just gonna be a behemoth tanking in the field. So that is my placement for Evolution Blue Vegeta. Coming in at number 7 is going to be UI Goku, his counterpart. I've been getting lucky. I've been getting lucky with UI Goku's dodges. It's a lot more fluid to run this guy in, especially with the release of the additional characters that I'm going to be talking about. And his revive condition, I feel, comes a lot more easier than most other characters, making this guy very useful. The only thing that you need to be in is, like, if your HP is 77% or less, the character is able to revive, which is, again, pretty easy. Sometimes these fights can be very tedious, very tough, to the point that you're like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And then maybe on turn 2 or turn 3, where you just took an insane amount of damage, you don't know what to do, you can be able to use this guy's revival skill, and it helps out, because if you're running Evolution Blue Vegeta alongside him, these guys get a buff after a character or an ally gets a revival skill. This is a permanent buff. Key +7, attack and defense plus 77%. This is not for the turn. This is starting from the turn in which the character or an ally's revival skill is activated. So by using this guy's revive, which is the most easiest that you can acquire, I feel that buff, he also gets it too, by the way. These guys are just going to be explosive. They're going to do so much damage. Yeah, it's a thing of beauty. I have not tested out UI Goku on the trio, but I don't think you can do that because they're not on the team. Because again, the trio's his team, they lead All Out Struggle, Super Saiyans, and I think that's it. There's no like other third leader skill, I feel. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, you could be able to like test out UI Goku on the team and just see how it goes, man, because that would have been perfect. See all the substantial buffs. But yeah, look, 77% chance of tossing an additional super, 77% chance of dodging. He dodges guaranteed for the first turn, so like he is going to be very optimal on his use, right? And he's getting buffs per dodge, so he's just a crazy character overall. Like I said, I don't know whoever did the design for these ECAs, but they're perfect. It leads me to think, what are they gonna do for the 7-year anniversary LRS ECAs? That's gonna be very, very good. We'll see once we get that. So, and of course he is able to dodge guaranteed after the character's survival skill is activated, so it's another good perk to have on your usage for different team builds and things like that. So UI Goku, I do find myself using him a lot because of the Reps of Universe 17. Reps of Universe 17 is also like very, very dominating right now because of all the extra buffs that we got UI Goku releasing the game early on global. We didn't have to wait until like the 10 Nevada celebration, and we also have the 10 Nevada ECAs like the Golden Friesen 17 and the Team Universe 7. We can be able to pump those guys into the same team, and they're going to be very, very good, dominating the whole play. I've been able to do even some of the worldwide download celebration events with the reps of Universe 17. That's how good the team is. So yeah, my placement for UI Goku gonna be in number 7, which brings me to number 6. Tech UI Goku. Now, this is heavy. This is a heavy one because again, these are interchangeable. Whatever you think about, like, oh, Carlo decided to put this guy on number 6, which means he sucks, right? No. Again, there are too many good units in the game that I find myself like, what am I doing? Like, how am I gonna be ranking these guys now? Like, it's gonna be so weird now. So again, you guys can be able to do your own list and let me know down in the comments below what are your placements, right? I feel like this is my placement for UI Goku. UI Goku again is somewhat a little bit wonky on base. He has a 7% chance to dodge, which is good. Again, that's the whole gimmick of UI Goku is him dodging. He gets 50% damage reduction, but this is before receiving an attack. If he does get hit, the next attack that he might receive will have 15% damage reduction. Well, the unit will have 15% damage reduction. But this is a unit that you're not gonna like depend on putting on slot 1 or 2, unless you don't have like AGO UI Goku on the rotation, right? But yeah, this guy is able to toss out some additional attacks. He launches a super attack after evading an attack, which is helpful. He guards within the same turn after receiving an attack. Again, pretty helpful, pretty consistent. And then what makes this guy just uber good is this. Going into his domain. Just getting him into the status right here is going to be very good with his domain. He's going to be countering every attack. He's going to be dodging those attacks with the counters. He's going to be looking very good. I feel like this is a very good complementary unit with this UI Goku. They're both going to be like, this rotation is a very good rotation. Add this guy into the fray. This is just, you have that rotation set up and you're not losing that rotation. There's no way. So UI Goku, very good. I don't feel like there's any issues with him. Again, the base is where I have a little bit of problems with. Of course, he is getting all these buffs when there's a, with his intro. But again, it's just the terms of him like trying to dodge everything, right? Or depending on UI Goku being a dodge character, sometimes you can get that luxury of like, oh well, we gotta dodge, let's go. But there are also sometimes where he behaves like STR UI Goku and he doesn't dodge for you. So it's a hit or miss for this character. I love him a lot. He is very good. He has guard, he has damage reduction. With his intro, he's getting a lot of substantial buffs. He is tossing out. Well, he has a chance of performing a crit, so you don't have to give him like crit. He also has a chance of evading any of his attacks, so you can complement that with the additionals if you do have him with some extra dupes. But I consider this guy very solid as well. Like I mentioned, with the Team Universe 7 now, like super good. This guy is a vital asset to just being the leader for it, and you're going to basically try to dominate the game with that team. Like the reps of Universe 7 team, it's just going to be very good. So yeah, that is my placement for our boy Tech UI Goku. So now we're going to jump on number 5, which is Cell Max. And again, like I mentioned, very interchangeable. Now I'm gonna start getting into the top 5s, which released between the previous celebrations, anniversary, the celebration after the anniversary, and then the worldwide download celebration, right? So as you guys might believe, oh my god, the units before the worldwide download celebration are in the top one, or like the units in the worldwide download celebration are in the top one. So the top 1 to top 4 maybe. So now it's depending on how do I rank them. A little bit of a spoiler before you go ahead. So Cellmax, I feel like this guy is very underrated. That's one of the many things that I've said. Granted, there are going to be some segments in the fights where he's just going to be taking a lot of damage, and that doesn't make him look good. But the man is... This man can get very high on defense. There's going to be an instance or an off chance that you can get to a million defense, 18 million defense. I think I have a screenshot somewhere of him like getting really, really high on defense, like 18 million or 41 million. No, not 41 million, maybe 4 million or something like that. Not too high. But this man is capable of doing that because of that active skill that he has. It's very, very good. Just defense plus 999%. Just crazy character. He can be susceptible to taking a lot of damage. So you gotta get him built up first and foremost. Just seeing how you can make sure that this character just stays on that scenario. We're just having him be built up to the point that he is going to be self-sustained for the next few turns until you do the target skill. I suggest just doing the target skill in a very like dire situation. That's one of the many things that you guys should do. But then you have like all the extra things that he's able to do. This man is doing like 21 million damage on like 55%, which is, again, it's ridiculous that this man is just doing that much at 55%. So really, really good character. Of course, the caveat is like he is on artificial life forms, and I was just doing the ECAs for the Goten and Trunks, and I'm out here thinking, so you're not gonna be able to just place this guy in there, right? Like trying to do the event, because I had different characters from artificial life forms, so you can be able to add super class artificial life forms category characters to make this guy look good. But that's another thing. This guy gets this tremendous buff if you don't have any superheroes category allies in the same turn, which means the artificial life forms characters like Gamma 1, Gamma 2, the Gammas who are in the superhero category, you're going to be taking away that tremendous buff from him. So like he is very good. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. He's very good defensively, but he's very solid, I feel. So yeah, that is my placement for Cellmax. And now we start to gauge a little bit. We're going to start expanding a little bit more, seeing who are in the top 4. And again, these are my thoughts and opinions. So anything can be interchangeable, that's one. And if you think that I made a mistake, do let me know down in the comments below. What are your guys' thoughts? What are the placements? What do you guys think? All of those shenanigans, right? So coming in at number 4, I am in a very big tie. Again, these two are going to be very interchangeable depending on what you think of them. I'm going to put the Int Broly at number 4, and maybe placing him in here, he could be interchangeable to even be at number 1 or even at number 3, but I'm gonna leave him here. Broly, the thing that disappointed me from Broly is that he was not able to get any additionals on his potential. Like, he doesn't have any additionals on his passive, unfortunately. So the man is going to be very dupe dependent. So you're gonna have to pull many dupes for him to be, in a word, cooperative. So he can be able to do some decent damage. I mean, he is already like really doing big boy damage. Like, he is getting into like 18 million. There's also this new mechanic that we have where the unit himself, once he's doing a super attack, he gets the 50% chance of further massively raising attack for one turn. That is, in a word, like debatable. Like, how can you be able to see this happen? How can you gauge it happening in the rotation? Because it's very rare to see that, depending on if you have any dupes for the character. Like, if he's very high on dupes, you could possibly see how, like, you can be able to differentiate how is his attack stat going on. Again, this complementing with this guy, the domain ability is just going to be very useful, because you can pop this guy's domain on turn 1 or on turn 2, depending on where you have him, and then, or like, if you're in a dire situation, that's another factor. Like, if you see yourself like, oh, struggling, oh man, I can't, I gotta make sure that I use the domain right now, to use it. Or like, okay, I want to get set up so that after this guy's domain finishes up, I'll use Broly's domain. So there could be an instance where you can have these two on the same rotation, and you use this guy's domain first, and then you pop Broly's domain afterwards, and that is going to be a good setup for you. So having him there is going to be really good. Let's talk about his abilities for a little bit. His intro, providing him 40% defense to extreme class allies, it's going to be very good. The 60% damage reduction, very solid too. The one part where I'm having issues, again, he is not doing any additionals. He doesn't have any built-in additionals. No chances of an additional, anything like that. So on his domain, he's going to be very powerful, because he's going to be changing orbs. He's guarding all attacks. The attacks are going to be effective against all types, and then after the domain, or after turn 5, depending on however you, I think it depends on how you use the active skill for his domain. Just depending on what you did with the character, he can have the revive chance available. Makes him good. I feel like that makes him very solid, very I feel like this was needed on movie bosses, like a revive character. That is very good. So having this Broly be there, that's not bad at all. He is also providing support. So uncontrollable power category eyes get 60% attack and defense in the turn. So in the turn after you use the revive, right? So he is very, very good. The only thing, like I mentioned, I'm a little bit disappointed he did not get any additionals built in, which could make him a lot better, I feel. There hasn't been an instance where I've died yet with this character. I think I have, maybe on Cell Max, but I still feel like he is very, very good. I don't have any issues at all seeing how I don't see this character being a little like mid, as what other people would say. He is he's a defensive unit, or he's meant to be a very defensive unit. But if you want to emphasize a little bit more on defense, I feel like getting him an additional chance here on his passive would have been helpful, because again, this is going to help out greatly too. On his 12 key, if you do get an additional pop, he's able to get a massively raise in attack and defense, but the 50% chance of further raising defense is also there. So there are going to be instances of like, oh, it's better to get the 12 key than the 18 key. It's like, true. So if you want to see him a little bit more defensive, you have to play around with him, or you can be able to just do the 12 key so you can be more defensive, or you can be able to do the 18 key. That's going to be helpful for the boy. So like, there are many wonky decisions that they've made for this guy. It's not super helpful. I don't find it super helpful, but at least on my end, I consider this guy like he's good. Again, can be interchangeable. The revive that he's providing is just gonna be very solid. It helps complement the team a lot. So that's my overall thoughts and opinions on it. So I'm gonna leave my boy and Broly at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is gonna be, of course, the tech Broly. Again, I could be able to just do this, right? Let's put it in here. I can be able to just do this. Just place him on number 2 or number 3. This is one that I'm like on the fence about, like saying, oh, I don't think he has any problems being a number 2. Because, again, there hasn't been any instance in the game as of yet where I've died with this character. There hasn't been. So placing him over here, or even placing him over here, could be a very good instance, but I'm gonna place him over here. Broly, like I mentioned, he is just, I feel like he is one of the most perfectly crafted designs of a unit ever. That's how I feel. His start of turn, you can be able to just immediately transform with him, which is good. I'm not saying that. The thing that makes this guy, like, oh my god, he's just so good, so good. Make sure to do this. Is the start of turn, like, defensive capabilities of this guy. He is very defensive. So at the start of turn, on turn 1, he gets 90% damage reduction as the first attacker. Or on slot 2, you can put him on 7, like him getting 70% damage reduction, and of course he's going to be providing support to extreme class allies as the second or third attacker in the turn, and he's already naturally providing support, which is this right here. Is just going to be super good. The extra defense that he's able to get as well. And of course he's not going to be attacking until the next attacking turn, where you can be able to go into this 70. Okay, I was just like, are you gonna load? 76% damage reduction for 3 turns. And then now we'll revert back to 50%. And it just makes him a very solid character, I feel. He, again, very defensive. He does a lot of damage as well. Like, he's going to be ramping up his damage because he's going to be stacking his attack on 18 key. Just, again, making him a very durable unit. He's gonna pop off, bro. There have been instances, again, I have him at 55%. He's doing 25-30 million damage just by having him at 55%. No, the only equips that I have for him are the special equipment from the memorable battles. That's the only thing that I have, and I have, again, at 55%. He is just going to be an absolute behemoth going through these fights, going through these motions. Again, very defensive unit. This is a unit that you can put on slot 1 to protect this guy, and both of them are going to be linking very well together. It's just, I feel like this is a perfect design for an extreme class character. I feel like they did very good designing this unit. There's no flaws, I feel. Everything was, I feel like this character is like a very good, perfect design. I don't see any flaws with him, which is why I'm like, oh, this character can be interchangeable. I can put him in here, or I can put him in here. So, or I can put him in here, like I said. It's very interchangeable, depending on how I feel. I've been running this guy a lot because of, you know, the Brolys and things like that. And him, it's just, he has not failed me. He has been very dominating. I feel like on stages, on events, I'm having an easy time just going through it. I don't have any issues running this guy at all. The support on turn 1 is going to be helping out a lot, and then you transform with him, and then you have the ability to use the domain, well, not the domain, the active skill, where he's just going to get a permanent buff in battle. Makes him incredibly stupid. And of course, against with all the Brolys that we have, like especially this guy right here, with his EZA, we're just like, you get a rotation full of Brolys and you're just slaughtering the game. It's a little bit bad that this guy is a bit bad on base, and then this guy goes over here and just, oh, let's eliminate everything. So yeah, Again, very interchangeable. I feel like this could be on a good day. He could be a number 1. On a bad day, maybe number 2 or number 3. But that's my placement for our boy Broly. See, he has built-in additionals there, and even though he doesn't need it, at 55%, he's gonna be just, you know, tossing this out, which is again very helpful on that turn. I feel like that is going to be just a good thing to have. An additional chance to toss out an additional super attack. There's also this, where if he's on the slot 2 or 3, he's tossing a guaranteed super. Again, give him those things. Like, if they would have given that in Broly this, I could have placed him a little bit higher, because again, he's very resourceful. But no built-in additionals kind of like kills the thing here. Again, they're not making it so that this guy is a lot more offensive than he should be. He's going to be a very defensive character. That's how they're looking at it, like this, right? So they're placing it like that. And that's why they didn't give him any built-in additionals. But again, built-in additionals would have been really good for him. Then again, we have this guy. Very solid, very good. So coming in at number 2 and then number 1, I'm gonna throw these immediately. Number 2, bam. Number 1, bam. Just simple. That is my list. So let's go ahead and talk about number 2. These guys. They have elevated the game in a way that I've never seen before. So their ability to provide this to allies. I didn't pull these guys on day 1. And to be completely honest with y'all, the hype died for me a little bit for these characters when I was not able to pull them on day 1. Everything about them just makes them look like a must bring on these events, right? And them doing that, where they're providing an additional attack support to the allies, oh my gosh, just makes this unit so good. They have 30% damage reduction temporarily when receiving a super attack. I don't know what happened. I was on Ninjago's stream last night after the recording of this video, and he just took so much damage up against like Cell Max, which is insane to think about. But it could be because, just, you know, Cell Max just being the oppressive character that he is, or the oppressive boss fight that he is, he's just going to be doing a lot of damage. But yeah, the fact that you're giving this to the allies, not only that, you're giving this as well. Like, it makes the unit so good. But again, it kind of killed the hype for me because I couldn't pull these guys early. Yes, I know. It's like, oh my god, you have a RNG problem because the RNG wasn't with you and you got shafted, so you're not gonna give him the number 1 spot because of that. I mean, technically he doesn't deserve the number 1 spot because of those instances. I feel like he is gonna be very good, but not as good as like a number 1 character, right? Again, haven't seen these guys die because of, I mean, they're getting a lot. So they get 30% damage reduction. They get an additional 15% damage reduction if there's another melee heroes or all on struggle category ally. They're tossing additional attacks. So these guys, there have been instances where they can get to like 3 or 4 super attacks with this. So they're going to be looking very good. And of course the standby for this guy. There have been chances where I'm not relying too much on his standby. Granted, like, if you want to do the finishing blow with these guys, by all means go ahead. You can be able to do it with this guy. 59% damage reduction, 30% defense when receiving an attack for every 3 key sphere, or every 3 key that you have. You're providing defense to the allies for 2 turns per physical key sphere obtained. Granted, this is also very dependent on if you have maybe like the whole field full of physical characters. That is going to have that dependency there, but sorry. But he looks good. I kind of fell flat with him. Again, it's the user experience. This is my experience, like trying to acquire the guy, and then because it was so long when I got him, I never got to experience the joy of like, oh wow, so basically you're buffing everybody on this team. Like you can be able to add God Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which is a video that I'm going to make. I haven't made it yet, and all these characters, and you can't. Oh, so I basically can be able to do this. But I unfortunately wasn't able to do on day one because I couldn't pull these characters on day one. And kind of the hype died down for me a little bit. That doesn't mean that the placement of these guys are going to be like, oh my god, they suck because I couldn't pull them early, so I'm going to put them in here. No, there's no way. Their usage is tremendous. I love using these guys. They're phenomenal. Having these guys, I feel, is a lot more helpful to go through these events. Granted, not saying that they're very necessarily useful, like, oh, you need to pull them, otherwise you're not going to be able to fight everything in the game. No, these guys are very good. Even as a friend, you can have them in there, so they can be able to do their job and stuff like that. So and then the standby, of course, you're able to do a lot of good damage with this. So those are my overall thoughts on this guy. And then of course, like I mentioned, coming in at number 1 is gonna be Gohan. So yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get Gohan on the wiki. I don't know why. I'm just gonna pop another tab. Can I do that now, please? Nope. Like look at it. I can't get Gohan in here. I don't understand. But yeah, let's go ahead and pop Gohan right here. So like he is doing so much damage on every single attack that he does, and it's because of these things. Like this buffs Gohan to a point that you're like, man, this man is doing 27 million attack stats at 55% because of all of this. Like, it's tremendous, and he's able to do so much. So like, he guards all attacks when receiving an attack. If you have a Kamehameha or Earth Fighters category ally attacking the same turn, he gets an additional key. On 77% HP or less, he's dodging. That's a 50% chance to dodge. And then of course, this guy brings a entirely new mechanic, which is the standby, bringing the 7 Dragon Balls to appear. They have a lot of good ideas they can make with this ability. Like, oh, you have to collect Dragon Balls. I feel like if they had Bulma release, well, Bulma's not going to be like a standby character. Bulma's just going to be a support character. But this is like, they can have some good ideas with this standby right here. So I feel like it's very good. This guy is just going to be dominating. And then once you go into a standby, which again is really easy to get, they can be starting from the 3rd turn, from the start of the character's entry turn, or when HP is 77% or less, you go into a standby. This is lethal. This just decimates whatever's in front of the enemy. I've seen people play around with the charges, how many charges you get, how much can you buff this man. Like, he is just gonna incinerate anything in his path. He will have 77% damage reduction if you have all like super class allies attacking in the same turn. He's getting an additional attack plus 77% per super class ally attacking the same turn, so 154% attack. He's gonna get this upon the finishing effect once it's activated, and he's just going to destroy again everything in his path, because it's just so much damage that this guy is just going to be doing is lethal. It's crazy, man. So yeah, my placement for him at number 1, I feel like he cannot be touched on this state, and then after he finishes up, he is just going to deliver the final blow and just eradicate anything that's in front of him. So that is my tier list. Now, again, this is my list. This is what I think are the best units in the game. Do let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. These can be interchangeable. You guys let me know. But yeah, I'm not gonna make this video a lot longer than it should. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. I'll leave the link for the tier list in the description so you guys can be able to check it out. And yeah, I'm gonna take this time as well to promote the second channel. There should be a video up right now, so the recording of this video. I will try to leave it linked down below, and you guys can be able to check it out. We're just gonna, I think I'm talking about Sparking Zero. I'm not gonna upload with a lot of frequency there until we get Sparking Zero, but I'm very excited for the second channel as well. So make sure you guys check it out. And yeah, let me know down again your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Take care now. Bye bye.